I was finally able to wrap the credits on Borderlands 4, a game I was very excited to come out, and I am actually quite pleased to have played. It's been a lot of fun, and even though we just finished the campaign, it feels like there is quite a bit still to do as far as like side missions, but I want to go through things that I like about the game, things I didn't like about the game, and give an overall review of Borderlands 4. And keep in mind, this is coming from somebody who enjoys the Borderlands franchise. I'm an enjoyer of the looter shooter games. If you're not like a looter shooter person, you're probably not going to feel the same way about the game as I do. But with that, let's jump into what I like and didn't like. So we'll start off with things that I actually like about the game. First of all, it's going to be the movement. That's the first thing that jumps out to me. Also, this review is going to be spoiler free, so no worries about that. If you haven't jumped into the game yet, I'm not going to spoil anything from the story or any of the bosses. But the movement in this game is incredible. It's so above and beyond any of the previous Borderlands games. It is incredibly intuitive, and it just makes it so easy to move around the map. You can jump, double jump, glide. You got the grapple that helps you get around. The only little pet peeve I have about the grapplers, it's kind of annoying with it being on the same button as the melee, but that's more so for me being a controller person. Of course, if you're on PC, that's not as big of a problem, but just a minor little inconvenient thing there. The other thing that I really like about Borderlands 4 that is different than the other games is the gun part system that they put into Borderlands 4. It's sort of like what they did back in Borderlands 2, but obviously more complex, and it's really fun, gives you a lot more variety on guns, and a lot of different things that your guns can roll with, so I think the new gun part system is really cool. Next up, and these aren't really in any particular order, although I will say the movement is the first thing that comes to mind when I think about what I like about Borderlands 4, just because I can't express enough how good the movement is in this game. But the next thing is going to be the dynamic events. So you've got like drill sites, you've got the world boss bubbles that pop up. I think these things are really cool and a lot of fun to stumble into as you're kind of going about your thing. I do wish, however, that they would expand upon this even more, and I think that they might in the near future come up with more events to add to the game and maybe use it with like special events as well. Not like the Halloween. We'll get to the Halloween event, but I'm looking forward to how they can build upon this and do more with it, or at least I hope they do. The next thing that I do think is a positive, especially after what was the tragedy of Borderlands 3, I think they actually did a pretty good job with the story of Borderlands 4. I thought the story was really good, it was fun, it kept you engaged, it wasn't annoying, it wasn't cringe, it wasn't as bad as Borderlands 3 was. I think it was actually a pretty solid story here for Borderlands 4, so I definitely got to give props for that. Also tied in with the dynamic events, I do really like the open world concept. You can kind of just stick to the story if you want to and just follow along with the story missions, but you have the option with the open world to kind of venture around, find all the side missions, find all the little hidden things that are all over the place in this game. There's a lot to explore if you want to sit down and just kind of go everywhere, do all the side quests. There's just so much to find in the open world, and the open world also, of course, makes the dynamic events really cool as well. And then with the open world, I'm also really happy with what they did with vehicles in Borderlands 4. So with Borderlands 4, you get to basically spawn your vehicle pretty much wherever you're at, with a few rare exceptions, but you can just spawn your vehicle anywhere and ride it around to help you get through the open map quicker. And I think it's a really nice, really good quality of life change. And then finally, the thing that I'd say I really like about Borderlands 4 are the skill trees. Now, the skill trees for each Vault Hunter are huge, and then once you get through the campaign, then you get more skill trees in the form of specializations, and that just gives you even further character customization. So there's so many different options, different builds, lots of neat things that you can do with all the Vault Hunters. Now, of course, not everything is good. Obviously, Borderlands 4 is not the perfect game, so let's talk about the cons that I have for the game, the things I did not like. Now, there's only a few things that I came up with that I didn't like about Borderlands 4, but I do think they're really big issues. So I think the biggest issue, the most annoying thing, or I guess one of the most annoying things about the game is the navigation. There is no minimap. There almost wasn't even a combat radar, but the not having a minimap is really annoying. And they give you the Echo 4 robot, which will give you a route to where you're supposed to go sometimes. That's the more annoying thing about the little robot that's supposed to help you get around the map, is it only works sometimes. And even when it does work, it doesn't usually give you like the best route to where you're going. So it's really annoying trying to use the robot to navigate. You gotta keep opening the main map because they didn't give us a mini map. I'm really hoping that in the future they change their minds and go ahead and give us a mini map, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think it is a crazy decision to not include a mini map in this game. Like, if you go back and look at Borderlands 1, it started off with just a compass. That's how they wanted to do Borderlands 4 as well. Of course, we got the combat radar installed, but when they did the remaster of Borderlands 1, they added the mini-map, and that just made that game so much better. So it's really weird that they would just not add a mini-map to Borderlands 4. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the lack of endgame. Now, I haven't actually played through any of the endgame myself, but I've been watching a lot of people play it on stream, and, well, there's not really a whole lot to watch. I mean, there's a little bit of endgame. There's more than what some of the previous games have launched with, but there's really not much, and it's really unfortunate that they didn't launch with more endgame, more stuff to do once the campaign has been beat. So, I mean, we know that there's going to be stuff coming, but we have to wait until next year before even the first DLC drops, before we get any more real endgame. I'm not sure if we're supposed to get any endgame this year with the winter event or not. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's coming. All the endgame stuff is coming next year. So we got to wait kind of a while before any real endgame gets added. I mean, we got a few vault monsters that we can fight, stuff like that. And then, of course, you can go through and do all the side quests and stuff, which can keep you occupied in the game for a while. But, yeah, definitely bummed out on the endgame situation. And now, finally, and I can add this to my review because I got to my review so late. It took me so long to actually finish the game because I've been so busy. But let's talk about the Halloween event. Well, it was terrible, and it's actually a bit concerning looking forward to some of the other seasonal events coming up, because we got a Mercenary Day seasonal event, which is coming up, I think, next month for the Christmas season. But the Halloween event was just terrible, especially if you compare it, and mainly if you compare it to what we got for Borderlands 3. So when Borderlands 3 launched, we got a whole lot more with the Halloween event for free. We got like a new area, new bosses, a bunch of new gear to use, and the new gear was actually really good. But what we got for Borderlands 4 was kind of like the world bosses that spawn in. There weren't any new seasonal enemies to fight, nothing like that. It was just once in a while the bubble would pop up, you go in, you do your little Halloween thing, and then maybe you get a piece of the loot. I only actually did one of the Halloween bubbles myself. I didn't get the loot, and honestly, I'm fine with the fact that I missed out because the loot was terrible. There was only 2 new pieces of gear, and yeah, it was just a really bad event. It was really short as well, whereas in Borderlands 3, I'm pretty sure you could just log in and play the Halloween stuff anytime. You just toggle it on and play it, which is amazing. So it was a massive, massive step backwards comparing Borderlands 3 Halloween event to Borderlands 4 Halloween event. So hopefully this isn't a sign of things to come for the events in Borderlands 4. Hopefully this was just one that was not like the others. It's giving Wonderlands vibes, and that's not a good thing. I know it was free content, but they set the bar high in Borderlands 3 and then limboed way under it in Borderlands 4, and you don't want to work backwards like that. Now, with all that being said, I would comfortably give Borderlands 4 in its current state a 7 out of 10. Now, that's decent, but it's not great. And I was actually thinking 8 out of 10 initially until they hit us with this Halloween event. I'm actually taking off a point for that because it was terrible, and I'm worried about the future content. Now, obviously, if you look at Borderlands 3, I'd probably rate Borderlands 3 like 8.5 out of 10. But that's considering all the content that it got over the years while it was still being supported, and Borderlands 3 got a lot of content. So I'm hoping that with the content that's coming for Borderlands 4, that it'll eventually bump up to an 8 or hopefully a 9, because I do think that Borderlands 4 has the potential to be way better than Borderlands 3 once the content is out, but it's too early to say for sure. So for now, I'm sticking with a 7 out of 10. I do recommend the game. I do think it's fun. I'm just definitely looking forward to more content and more endgame.